I was having a conversation just a couple weeks ago with a gentleman who was in my youth group when he was in high school, and he's now in the world of finance and investment finance, working in New York. Shout out to Windsor, you're awesome, brother. Uh, and the conversation we were having is just how in entering into a this secular lifestyle, and he's a man of deep faith, that there's this temptation to have your target set squarely on your own success, right? I recall also my wife Monica is a doctor of psychology, and it, she worked so hard through the course of her studies and career to maintain a focus of faith, and it was really peculiar at sort of the graduation ceremonies when she was receiving this degree after so many years of work. The woman who was speaking, kind of given the keynote address at the at the at the event, the celebration, was her entire focus was on, now that you've done this incredible work, you've improved yourself to the point where now you're going to be able to meet or to fulfill all of your wildest dreams. And this work that you've done on yourself is now going to be able to earn you a degree or earn you a salary that's higher than any other person, who left the program before. And it's this broken path that the world would sell to us, that would say
An
that
elevation of
that
ego.
ultimately it's precisely, it's the elevation of ego. And I imagine that has to be present. I mean, that's sort of like the idea around all of the memes and tropes on the technology world, right? What's been your experience in the field of technology? As Have you had to deal with that? Have you met guys who have been dealing with that? What's the environment like?
I think it's like Ricky was saying, it's this idea of MVP, which I've always had an issue with, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody's like, oh, we need to get this out because I need to make my bottom line go up, or I need to be able to sell the company, or so on and so forth. Which I guess it's valid in a certain way, but
Yeah.
it limits you from you know building something beautiful, right? And I've personally always taken issue, and I've kind of accepted it just because everybody says it's true, so it
Yep.
must be true, kind of thing. Which it's nice to hear from our friend in Australia that, yeah, that's not the way, right? Because it kind of validates a notion that I had in the past, that no, you should build the right thing, right? And you should build things right.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a lot of hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, because we gotta meet the numbers, kind of thing.
Break work fast, break things.
Yeah, work fast and break the Facebook model.
uh,
um,
how about you, Ricardo?
I have a deep fear in the whole metaverse thing because I don't know if I've been listening to too much Jonathan Pajot, but there's definitely like a weird it's like the nightmare mix of like the seek of the wrong utopia on
Yeah.
Earth plus like deincarnation, that just everything about
Did you
it.
say de-incarnation?
Deincarnation, yeah.
That's a fascinating phrase.
Yeah, so it's just like it's like literally like you're an incarnate being and
Yeah.
you're just gonna just
Give up the body.
yeah, and people that abuse social media
Uh-huh.
are also, they're already in the metaverse, right? Like if you are standing next to somebody, not recognizing the image of God in them, and you're just on your phone, just disconnect into the void, like you're already in the metaverse, right?
Yeah.
So I find that the amount of hype in that direction is just horribly wrong,
Yeah.
misguided.
Well, I'm glad that somebody who's doing influential work in the realm of technology has that perspective. That's at least encouraging. Uh, okay, as you guys are both sharing the story, I'm blown away. So here at Damascus, one of the phrases that we use frequently is that God has placed in us, in the heart of every Catholic, this something that we would call a missionary impulse, which there's something about our heart that resonates when we give ourselves away, right? That Saint John Paul II said it, that man can only come to know himself through a total gift of himself. And it sounds like, I mean, should come as no surprise. This is a human revelation of our having been created in the image and likeness of God, that when we set our foundations on building something egocentric, and then we're introduced to, call it what you will, a philanthropic invitation, or like what you were describing earlier, Ricardo, that there was just this sense that, yeah, this keeping up with the Joneses, I'm gonna build and build and sell and flip, and uh, it it just strikes you as empty, right? Why? Because truly, having been made in the image and likeness of God, we are not made to take and take and take. We are made to give ourselves away. And one of the sayings we have on the show is that every one of us is called to a life of full time mission. And I love, even as we're having this conversation now. My guess is that neither of you would have considered yourselves like living an aspect of a missionary life uh, before before meeting the missionaries of Damascus. And um, that's truly the invitation that the Lord offers, right? That each of us is called to live in that way in our particular realm of influence, and it just brings me such great joy. So welcome to the missionary program. We are taking open applications. Uh, Aristotle and Thomas, I've never heard connected to the realm of technology. As you guys are kind of living on the ground floor of the technology world, um, what is it that keeps you engaged? What is it that keeps you excited? And how do you see technology really through the lens of being a tool that the Lord wants to use to transform the world?
I think that the well, I went well. I heard a talk the other day. It was quite interesting because it used a very broad term for the use of technology, right? So like it was under the terms of like garments of skin is in
Mm,
essence technology, right?
yeah.
So basically, it's like it's you could seen in the right way, like the use of technology and its effect on people is understood. It can be understood biblically, right? So I would just like to announce that I am still ignorant somewhat into that notion. But my I guess my inclination is like whether it had been technology or if we would have been a carpenter or if we would have been a musician
Mm,
or some of those lines, you have God-given gifts, whatever they are, and just make sure you aim high. Some people have great gifts and they aim low, or they discard their gifts and aim low.
yeah.
So with the use of technology, I would say that I think one of the things I advise people when they're looking for work in tech is like, hey, don't just find a high-paying job in a company you're not passionate for. You're technically selling your soul, right? In essence, right? You're just like, I'm going to spend 8 hours of my day
Yeah.
doing something that does not point up.
Uh-huh.
It's just neutral in a way where I don't know if there's a neutral pointing. My inkling is it's only up or down, but
Yeah.
um, so my inkling is like you get it's very easy to orient yourself not up by doing so, and you just kind of get lost in this like ego stuff where like, oh, I'm just getting this job. Why? Because I have expenses, and then it's
Yep.
like, all right, well then what is the thing that you have highest, right? So it's I would say it's technology. I don't think it has a special category, just like any other skill set of what you can do.
Mm,
Just that as of late, tech has gotten a lot of attention, right? Because of the explosion in industry and all those things that happened in the last few years.
yeah. So I think you were appropriately identifying sort of the false promise associated with the realm of social media, right? And how it's, I don't know, it's a hot button term that it's the current tool that the enemy is twisting to use to pull our ego to the forefront, right? There's nothing new under the sun, but uh, how how do you see, I don't know, the church mobilizing, or being being capable of mobilizing to use these tools for the sake of the gospel? Or do you feel like this is just off limits?
I mean, from my personal perspective, is that like I both criticize the socials and whatnot, et cetera, et cetera, but I also like the reason why I'm reading the Western canon
Yeah.
is because I listened to hundreds of hours of videos on YouTube
Yeah.
of the right pair of gentlemen giving the right speak, right? So, and I think that it's it's odd. I have this really weird take on it. I see people that they basically feed their vanity on their Instagrams,
Yep.
but at the same time, like I'll listen to hours of philosophical like videos, and then basically the whole webcast. They have a weird feedback loop, right? Which, like, if you're looking
Mm.
at the right thing, you get the good
Yeah.
right recommendations. So it's like, you listen to a Pajot podcast, and
What are
then
the top 5 things on your YouTube feed right now?
my top 5 on my feed.
Mine are Star Wars usually, and lots of drones.
Top 5 things.
I get a bunch of philosophical stuff, jujitsu videos, and carpentry and that kind
I
of
got a
stuff.
lot of carpentry too. For some reason, like wood turning on a lathe is
Yeah.
like the
Soothing,
they
it's
have
very
got me
soothing.
trapped in their
Or
algorithm.
blacksmithing as well. Yeah, I like it.
That's kind of a joke.
I think you got a bunch of
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, like, for all those the gentlemen,
Yeah.
the intellectual dark web, as they were called once, I listened to listen quite a bit. But recently, it's gone down a bit. Like, I've diminished it a bit, and I'm just up the reading quite a bit. So it's a little it's
Okay.
changing.
Well, I've got something to learn from you guys. Good. I'll start bringing up the giants of philosophy again. Yeah, that's sweet. Sometimes I have a perspective toward technology and social media, like you were suggesting, that it's not as though I don't know. It's not as though there's a new evil or a new good that's been introduced to the world. It's just that the amplitude has been turned up on both. So so we still have the capability of making the choice to expose ourselves to good or to expose ourselves to evil. But for young people today, for young adults today, it's almost like we were always standing on a precipice, able to go one way or the other. But it's as if the mountain's just gotten steeper, right? And if you step into the good and you commit yourself to the pursuit of the gospel, and even aligning with technology, I mean, I'll brag on our team, like the beautiful work that Damascus is doing, uh, producing videos that can communicate the heart of God and the transformation of young people's lives through their testimony is just, it's like nothing you've ever seen. It's able to elicit a true and powerful connection with the Lord through the emotion of sharing in somebody's testimony in a way that you can't do by reading a book or reading it in a newsletter.